um, is the official launch of the Global Fund Grant Cycle number 7 for the people of Liberia in the fight against HIV/AIDS, tuberculosis, and malaria. Many of you journalists are fully aware of what the Global Fund is. It is that global intervention that ensures that people who are troubled by HIV, by tuberculosis, and by malaria have the support that is required in combating the 3 diseases. Since the intervention of the Global Fund program for Liberia, nearly $500 million has been spent on combating the 3 diseases in Liberia. Today's launch of Cycle 7, which will last for 3 years, brings a grant, and that's the most important part. The Global Fund intervention in Liberia is not loan, meaning the government does not have to pay. All of their interventions are grant, meaning they spend the money on your country for free and you don't have to pay back. So by the launch of Cycle 7 today, which is in the tune of $93 million, Liberia in the next 3 years has support to fight TB, to fight malaria, and to fight tuberculosis. In addition, there is $34 million in addition to the $93 million, which will be used for the strengthening of the healthcare system, meaning what was launched today will see the investment of $127 million in the next 3 years in fighting malaria, HIV, and tuberculosis. That launching ceremony took place and perhaps may still be ongoing at the Monrovia City Hall, where President Bouaka formally launched the intervention. We have had long conversations about the much talk about moving equipment for Liberia. The first time I had to make an intervention with regards to those machines, that was immediately after the cabinet retreat, where a presentation was made about the acquisition of the machines. At that time, those of you who may remember very well, I announced that there was no formal agreement, and I'm sure many of you here remember that, and that conversations were ongoing. You witnessed recently that the process of having those machines in country started. The first batch came, followed by a second, and an anticipation of spare parts is on the work. And you've noticed that we haven't talked much about it because, see, governance, it's not just about talking, everybody responding. Everything we do with regards to governance should be for the benefit of the people. Whether it's interventioning moving equipment that became the talk of the time, whether it's wanting to pave our roads, or putting medication equipment in hospitals, funding schools so that they have benches and all of the instructional materials they need. The focus has to be about the progress of the country. So for us, the bigger picture has been, what is the implication of having 285 pieces of moving equipment in the country? That leads to the establishment of maintenance zones across our country, where there are continuous intervention on the road. That's key. Yes, others also got interest in ensuring that the laws are followed. They too have a right. But one thing we're sure of is that as a government, all of the actors would have done the required collaboration and intervention to ensure that something that benefits the country, that benefits the people, is not hindered. And I'm sure it's in that regard that the President has formally written the leadership of the legislature, the Speaker, the President of the Senate, who is Vice President, and I guess the Pro Tem. They all have a communication from the President addressing their concerns about the acquisition of the yellow machines. Also, one of the things we're waiting for is the fact that members of the legislature, I think particularly the House of Representatives, have requested some officials of the government from the executive to have gone there today, and my information is that they are there. What this shows is that the leaders of the country are talking. But importantly, the equipments are arriving. And I'm not sure that any of us who are leaders, irrespective of what part of the governance system we are, would now want to see interventions that keep the country making progress. Our information is that of recent, 500 pieces of similar equipment were sent to Burkina Faso that is making huge strides. I've seen some of the people in our country who criticizing the importation of the yellow machine, referring to the Burkinabe leader as a revolutionary who is transformative. Back to their own country, the thought is different. So yes, as was announced, the equipments are arriving, but I thought to also inform you that the leaders are talking. And in the end, whatever their talks will lead to will be in the interest of our country. I was particularly drawn to a group of independent journalists who took upon themselves, with all that we've been talking about roads, to say, okay, we'll make a special visit to the southeast of our country. And between Monrovia and Ganta, yes, they drove in car. And between that place all the way to Harper, I listened to their story when they were informing the public that they took motorcycles. And while on their way, all the vehicles they saw going in that direction were all low vehicles. And they gave their own assessment as to what the road situation is. The Liberia being what it is, and with some believing that once it's not them, then nothing should happen, they started to attack those journalists, that they were pay agents. But the roads are there. They went there. If you believe that what they reported is not true, go do yours. Get on motorbike and go there too. Find the pictorials and the videos as they did. And say the same place they say they came from, here is where we're coming from. Here is the condition of the place contrary to what they said. But the fact that people don't even have appetite for good news. The fact that there are some people who all they want to hear is bad news says to us the country is still in a very difficult spot. But if you are one of those disciples of bad news, then you ought to be right. Because the Bouaka administration that we are a part of will deliver on the commitments that were made. And I've always said, don't be in a hurry to make judgment. Today, when we talk about the past regime, we can talk about it the way we talk because they have 6 years. And the 6 years expired. So you can assess them on account of what happened in 6 years. To have a government that's still got 5.5 years, and you think you want to use just the normal style of politics to give an impression that there's failure, then something is wrong. Just a few months back, civil servants, most times they will be owed unto 5 to 6 months. And when they get ready to pay, there's a special press conference, special press release to pay somebody for the money they work for. You don't see that anymore. Right now, salaries are being processed for civil service for July. The Finance Ministry has indicated that by July 19 is their schedule. All the civil servants would have been paid. That's good news compared to where we were last few months. Yes, there are some people who vex about that. They want a continuation of the situation where people should not be able to take pay. They want a situation where you should not even have electricity. They want a situation where no road should be built. The hospitals should be empty. Schools should have no benches. It brings in satisfaction. But they're not going to get that. Because we have an administration that will deliver. We have a president who isn't concerned about building condominiums for himself in 6 months, but wanting 285 pieces of F-movie equipment that will benefit the people. When you build condominiums, it's for you. When you put books in library, when you equip laboratories, when you pave roads, the roads that you can't pave when you make them passable. But hospitals have all that they need to run. That's progress for the people. Now when public officials build mansions for themselves. And I thought we should be glad that we have an administration that from the very genesis is showing strength in its desire to perform and deliver to the people. So yes, finally the president has communicated to the other leaders, especially those in the other branch of government, on what exactly has unfolded with the question of the yellow machines, and conversations will be ongoing. What the law requires will be done. The government is pleased that you want something to be done and somebody just got the interests. Look, before we even finalize or talk anything, so you know that this is serious, we can start deploying this in your country. And I'm sure all of the leaders will see it from that positive standpoint, and in the end, they will act collectively as a government to uphold something that benefits the country and its people. And we want to say that the president has acted very appropriately by doing those communications that were spoken about a few minutes ago by me, and we've all looked forward to seeing how our leaders found harmony in delivering to the people. I know there have been a lot of speculations about what is happening at the Ministry of Finance, and I want to confirm to you that yes, the Minister of Finance tendered his resignation. That resignation has been accepted by the President. The President and the entire government are grateful to Minister Kamara for his role played. Minister Kamara is still very useful to the country, whether on the local or international front, and he will continue to be an asset to the country and could play some roles in some other roles in the future. Because we want to ensure that government's operation continues and that the Ministry of Finance itself remains operational and very effective, the President has asked Mr. Anthony C. Myers to act as Minister of Finance until further notice, or in other words, until a final determination is made on who the next Minister of Finance of the country will be. So I know a lot of you press people, you've been calling me. You wanted to hear from us if what you were hearing in the public sense there was nothing official was true, you don't have answer to that inquiry. I know that so many things happen in our country, and sometimes people forget that Liberia is a sovereign nation. We've seen media publications suggesting concerns from some international organization on, quote-unquote, an imaginary tension between the current president, former president, or concerned about presidential launch usage and all of that. Let me remind all of those who doing those kinds of publication. While it is true that Liberia as a nation belongs to many different regional and international organizations, those involvement would not compromise our status as a sovereign nation. And it's unimaginable that people would be just thinking and believing that some international entity or organization can just interfere with your domestic governance process and tell you what to do. That doesn't happen. That is not happening here. There is no so-called tension between the current president and ex-president. And suggesting some international body having the kind of interest in what we do domestically in our governance process is just not true. We are a sovereign nation. We have an elected government. They've got a responsibility. They will perform those responsibilities without instruction or interference from anybody else. Because we too do not do so for any institution or any country. Each of us, irrespective of our togetherness in different organizations, whether it's global, regional, or sub-regional, we respect the sovereign nature of each of the member states, and none will do anything to interfere with what is required domestically from those nations as far as their governance process is concerned. So for those who are running around with those kinds of information, you're not doing yourself good. Let's focus on positive things and not those things that don't benefit our people anything. Whoever serves as ECOWAS ambassador anywhere in the sub-region or UN ambassador anywhere doesn't change anything about how food is put on the table of our people, how hospitals are operational here, how the schools are equipped and they can be run, how roads are accessible to all parts of the country. Everything that are directly border on the interests of our people, these things don't show or play any part on that. So let's focus on what is good for the country. Let's focus on what we want to see ourselves doing as a nation, and rather than dwelling on all of the unnecessary petty things that sometimes will take our attention away. One of the pillars of the president's agenda, the arrest agenda, is agriculture. And that's an area of expertise for the president himself. And so great concern and interest is placed on this sector. The team at the Ministry of Agriculture they've been taking the bull by the horn. And as you may all be aware, they recently launched the National Agriculture Development Plan, which in their opinion will boost food security and enhance economic growth in Liberia. That plan is estimated to cost about $718 million and implementable in the next 6 years by the Ministry of Agriculture and other stakeholders in the agricultural sector. The goal is to ensure that Liberia is able to feed herself. And this is something that all of us should embrace. Nations that struggle to feed themselves are left at the mercy of others. We are blessed, even now as we speak, there are many nations that are experiencing drought. But I guess all of you are tired with the rain. I was coming in the hall and a bulk of you were out there. And somebody said to me, you are running away from the cold. In other countries, that's not the situation. We got maximum rainfall, we got good soil, we got everything that we need to enhance agricultural productivity. And that's one of the things you got to be thinking about as we're talking about the F-moving equipment. Because part of the goal is not just to use all of them for roads. A good portion of them will be used to enhance agricultural productivity, help farmers to clear their farmland for production. You can imagine what a revolution it would be that you have all those F-moving equipments that are not just making our roads, including farm-to-market road, possible, but that they will also be ensuring that our people can produce and produce enough, because feeding ourselves is a must. And the Walker administration, they really focused on that, committed to that, and we are all impressed that the Ministry of Agriculture is playing that role that they are supposed to ensure that all of us get there. So even if the government gives or not, as leaders, when they put us in charge of these entities, we should be able to widen the horizon where we can engage and have things happening. And so in a couple of days, you will see people on top of the roof. They're not going to be patching the roof. They're going to be taking the whole roof down, change all the wood work and the roofing sheet. And then the next thing you will see is the process of refurbishing. And by that time, after all of these, when you're working here as a stakeholder in the communication sector, you will see a Ministry of Information that you'll be proud of in just 1 year. Thank you.
And to Minister Pierre, thank you so much. You talked about Minister Boyman Camaro resignation. Do you care to tell us whether the minister cite any reason behind his resignation? Thank you.
Thank you very much. My name is Ibrahim Sharif, and I report for the Liberia News Agency. I am more concerned about the National Agricultural Development Plan that was launched yesterday, because over the years, to the Minister Pierre, because over the years we have seen so many money being pumped into the agricultural sector in this country, but we still have little to show. So I want to know, what are the plans by your government? How do you intend to achieve the National Agricultural Development Plan that was launched yesterday?
Maurice Wuleti, you're working for OKFN. Right now, when you wake up one morning, you say you won't work there again, you resign. We'll still be asking you why. We just got to be concerned about the fact that Maurice now resigned from OKFN. So I think the information that you needed, you have it, which is, I can confirm that the Minister of Finance resigned. I can also state that the current Deputy Minister for Fiscal Affairs, Myers, Anthony C. Myers, has been appointed by the President to act until a much permanent leadership is determined. And I think that's enough of an information. We can't be throwing people's finger to say, oh, you say you resign. Tell why you resign. We can do that. So what is available to me is what I've said to you. And that is, yes, we can confirm that he resigned. Yes, we have somebody who is stepping in until otherwise ordered. And I think that's what the media needs. The Agricultural Development Plan, all of you journalists were invited. It was a very big ceremony. The president was there. So I expect you to be knowledgeable rather than wanting me to kind of explain. Maybe if you need more information, I can send you to the Agricultural Minister, Minister of Information. They think the Agricultural Minister will be able to tell you more about that plan. Maybe I can say it. But at least I was able to say to you the plan is launched. I was able to say to you what the cost implication is for that plan, $780 million. That's a lot of money. The Minister of Agriculture is on record of saying before President Bouaka leaves power, the country should be able to feed itself. I'm sure the plan that is being launched is in furtherance of that. And we look forward to seeing our country be able to feed itself. Look at the red situation in our country. When you have scarcity or shortage, I remember in 2023, there was a situation where you could see women climbing over fence to fight for rice. People looking for rice like you're looking for gold dust. You can find solution to those kinds of situations if you reach the level where you can substantively feed yourself. And so I stand in the corner of the agriculture minister who believes that we can do that. And I also stand with him in ensuring that we all as a government scrupulously implement the new plan that they've launched. And all of us should support it in what way we can. Those of you people who are farmers, start thinking about making big farms, because when those yellow machines are all year, all intact, they're not supposed to be costed if they are going to help you to expand your farmland and all of that. All of these things can help us to reach there. You know, the manual thing we can do here, struggling, has been the problem. But some level of mechanization, which we now see coming forth, can help us to get there. And I'm sure those are all elements of the plan that was launched. Yeah, the public seed machine, they know what machines can do. They want their roads to be okay. Some journalists are reporting, and you're one of them. They'll say the road are leading to Douala right now, they say that death trap. They're not wrong. Look at those roads. Where do you think will solve the problem on that road? Are collars and hoe? Are machines. So no, the public is not with you on that. Yes, some people are right to have their concerns about following the laws, and as a government, we too must follow the law, right? But if the president communication says no formal agreement has been reached, there's no financing agreement, then what are you talking about? The government is not the one that brought the machine. In a way, someone who is interested in helping the country has brought the machine. And because the president has brought the machine, the government now is saying, look, let's work together as a government, because this is good for our people. So the president playing that leadership role, he's rating his colleagues on the other side of the stuff, and they're talking. And I don't want to speak for them, but I'm not sure that anybody is not interested in having those movie equipments yet. All the officials of the government will come from different places. Some are from Riverside, Sino, Grand Jida, Grand Cru. They've seen their people suffer. You know, what do we forget so soon? Some months back, didn't we see people stay on the highways for weeks, if not days? Didn't we see them? Until we can have those roads paved, how do we believe those issues can be solved? It's through the interventions we're talking about. And without wanting to talk much, that is why I say our leaders are talking. Isn't that what you want from your leaders? The time was going to be taken to be combating in the public, we're talking. And in the end, that talk will be for the good of the nation and the people. But no, I don't agree with you that there's any public perception against the machine, because just to move it from the BTC, from the Freeport to BTC, traffic block all over the place, everywhere they pass. Because those people's interest is something there to be clean our roads, something there to clean our farms, something there to do this one. As of the detail asking about the president letter, man, you're the general answer to be far ahead of us all. As information minister, you do the first time I saw the letter on Facebook. Go on Facebook, you see all the content you're talking about in the letter. Then I may come in to explain it here.
All the explanatory content.
Everything, explanatory mark, what you call it?